working against us. They hate our souls. They hate us. They hate our righteous indignation. They hate the exhortation that dwells in us. They hate our love for the They hate our conviction. They hate the fact that we repented. They hate the fact that we're truthful, honest, and bold. They hate our courage. Them devils hate us. We're not finna line ourselves up with these weirdos and freaks. With these weirdos and freaks. They working against us. They hate our souls. Weirdos and freaks. But these weirdos and freaks, they working against us. They hate our souls. Nubreed.
Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, and in the power of his might put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints.
Undoubtedly, the one you call Jesus Christ was a black man. He was melanated. He had hair like wool. He had a deep voice. He was dark-skinned. He wasn't only just a black man. He was a dark-skinned man. He wasn't brown. He wasn't light-skinned. No, Christ was dark. We're talking about Wesley Snipes, dark. So let's make that clear. That's how he's described biblically. I don't know who this character is that they put up, but clearly the Most High God ain't happy with it. What my man Sizzler say? We serve no white God. I'm sorry, he's not white. Christians, I know that you have a hard time accepting this. You have a hard time understanding that Christ is the same image as your sons, as your uncles, as your father, as your grandfather, as the man that you dealt with. Yeah, he came in that same image. His lineage and bloodline is of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He comes through the lineage of David. He was a black man, all right? There's no doubt about it. In some extra biblical text, on record, on file, it even goes into race attributing to his crucifixion. because of the things he was bringing to the world. They even say his race contributed to his crucifixion. Now, let's make that clear. And if you have a problem with that, if you have an issue with that, so be it. But make this clear. Regardless of what your nationality is, your color, kindred, or creed, if you choose not to remember Christ as the scriptures have said, that's on you. You have to take that up with the Lord. But you see how the Lord is dealing with false idols.
Are you children of Israel? We are the biblical Israelites. Let's shine our light on this entire world and let them know that we're not standing for these 2/3 and their evil intentions for us. And we're not falling for the tricks and the charades. It's time that we rise up, honor the law, statutes, and commandments written up in that Bible, and stay on the right direction. All right. What's going on, everybody? It's your brother Nubreed coming through with another live stream. Peace and blessings to the chat. Let's see. I see I Am Black Madonna in the building. King Judah's in the house. Lady Love in the building. NG, God Property. Sister 1973. That's right. I see Lady Loves her Elohim. King of Queens in the building. CJ's in the house. Big Ray, what's happening? Zion Zara, Michael. Laura Lee's in the building. It's good to have y'all. Peace and blessings to y'all. Make sure y'all like the video on your way in. What's going on, Ash Flores? What's happening? We got to talk about this, y'all. Are they out here kidnapping Black Americans in Chicago right now? Are they? Because it sure looks like it. It sure looks like it. And in case you're wondering who they are, I'm talking about ICE. There's a lot going on in the shot, and I would advise all you brothers and sisters in the chat to just lift up your prayers for all the Chicagoans out there. Lift up your prayers for them. You know, they too shall get past this, but there's a lot happening right now as we speak. I want to go to Comedy Hype here, and they shared this news. And a lot of our people are responding to the ICE raids taking place. And I want y'all to check this out. Let's go.
Reporting live from Hyper's Club in Atlanta for Hype Plus News, I'm John ICE and other federal agents are currently in Chicago to fight against crime and immigration on behalf of President Trump's latest push to clean up cities across the country. Now, at the top of September, we reported Trump's threats to send in the National Guard to Chicago, only to be met with pushback from city officials and warnings from some of their residents that gangs in Chicago will not be an easy fight. Now, part of Operation Midway Blitz, ICE and other agents have begun sweeping through Chicago, which has now raised concerns of Black Chicago residents and others on who ICE is targeting. Just 2 nights ago, close to 300 armed agents would raid an apartment complex in a Black neighborhood at 2 in the morning. According to reports, the raid was expected to focus on potential Venezuelan immigrants and gang members, but would end up disrupting the lives of Black residents and children during the night.
Shows the chaotic scene overnight. Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents.
One of the Black American residents whose door was kicked in and was detained would share what he experienced, sharing that he was put into a van with others after assuming agents had the wrong home. While speaking to local outlet Block Hub Chicago, the man would go on to reveal, "They didn't tell me why I was being detained." Another Black Chicago resident who was also detained will go on to tell local news about the moment she was grabbed by ICE.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me did I have any warrants, and I told them no.
She says she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m.
Upon this report now circulating online, many fellow Black Americans are speaking out about what they're hearing coming out of Chicago, some even fearing that they could be next. Several would take to TikTok and social media to respond.
Y'all, few Black people that was so happy about them going after the Hispanic people. I told y'all when this first started, we were next.
So I made a video a few months back, and all in my comments, people were telling me this ain't got nothing to do with African American people, this ain't got nothing to do with black people, they only rounding up the Mexicans, so on and so forth. And I kept saying, this is gonna roll over into our communities, this is gonna affect us in some way, shape, or form. Like, stop being so naive to make it seem like they're just targeting one group of people, because that's not the case. And then what happens in Chicago? In the middle of the night, ICE detained for several hours African American people, and not just adults, children as well. They are detaining and then asking questions later.
In case you ain't know, them folks done ran up into an apartment complex in the middle of Chicago, and regardless of how them folks spoke, regardless of where they said they was from, regardless of how they appeared, they got thrown into a van and sent in for questioning. Some folks didn't get out until 3 a.m., and that's for the older elderly women. That means that is an illegal search. That is an illegal arrest, going into your property, search and seizure, and then sending you in for questioning. And if you had a warrant out for your arrest, you're not getting sent back. That is not normal. That is not okay.
Now, the fact that these people were detained and set free shows that they didn't commit any crimes whatsoever. So there were no legal grounds to actually snatch these people up out of their homes. That is what you call an abduction. So this Operation Midwest Blitz, or whatever they calling this thing, seems like they're just racially profiling, swarming neighborhoods, swarming the streets, and snatching people up. Let's go.
Now, over on X, one user was sharing a message to help fellow Chicago residents defend themselves against ICE.
I am super excited to go shopping for some new fall clothes. I saw that UGG has like some really cute shoes out right now, and I am super excited. I think that they would look better with like some baggy jeans, you know, like the kind that like Taylor Swift and Cardi B wear, and then like maybe a cute little crop top, a crop, you know, sweater or something. TJ Maxx, Marshalls, maybe Macy's. See what I can find, because you know, it's getting cold out here in these streets.
Yeah, these ICE agents don't have badges. They got their face covered. They, as you can see in a lot of the footage that I've showed so far, which we have more, they're pulling up with U-Haul trucks. They're pulling up with those budget trucks that you use to move with. And I want you to understand the whole scenario. I want to paint the picture for you. This is a Chicago neighborhood where families live. They're in their beds sleeping. In the middle of the night, ICE comes through with battering rams. They start knocking down doors. They're snatching people out. They got U-Haul trucks outside where these people are zip tied together. All right? And a hot U-Haul truck zip tied together while simultaneously being separated from the children. The children are crying. The children are afraid. The adults are afraid. They don't know why they're being detained. They don't know where they're going. And they overall don't know what's happening. All right? Now, let's continue.
While another user on X would encourage more people to talk about this latest raid and black people being detained. ICE is kidnapping black people in Chicago, and silence is violence, so effing say something. A part of the news circulating on ICE in Chicago, a video has now surfaced showing a black man being choked by an agent in broad daylight, adding to more concerns of black Americans now being targeted as well.
Why he choking him, man? Y'all supposed to be out here choking Mexicans.
According to reports,
you hear him say, y'all supposed to be out here choking Mexicans. You hear that? That's why we're in the situation we in right now. Because, you know, I've said this from the beginning as well, that this is a bloodline thing. What we're looking at is Jacob's trouble. They're going against the children of Israel, God's people, the 12 tribes that are in America. What you see going on in America is ethnic purging. And so what needs to happen is some solidarity among each other, because look, Now in Chicago, they got a taste of what Mexicans been enduring, because you got to keep in mind, although some of these Mexicans did enter the country illegally, there's still a lot of innocent people who got targeted. There was a lot of friendly protests that got targeted just because they were tired of being harassed. So I want you to keep in mind that these suspected white supremacists in army fatigues and mask don't give a damn who you are. They don't care if you're an American or not. They out here snatching people out of their homes, clearly. But let's continue.
The man was detained due to a possible connection to a robbery. Now, outside of the growing concerns of Black Chicago residents, not everyone appears to.
Now, that guy had a possible connection to a robbery, but we're mainly talking about people's homes getting raided, pretty much. Let's go.
Be upset about the recent ICE presence in Chicago. A video is now making the rounds online showing two older white women thanking agents during a patrol, in which one of the agents can be heard, "We work for you."
We work for you. We work for you.
We work for you. They're just trying to make America great again. You know what I'm saying? You got to get these undesirables out of there. They letting them know, hey, we work for you. Pointing to the nice older white lady sitting down having dinner. You know what I mean? Just making America great again. A little bit of ethnic purging here and there, you know, something to offset some of these declining birth rates. We're just trying to even the playing field, you know? Anyway, let's continue.
So let's talk about it more in the comments below. Should Black people be concerned about ICE raids in Chicago and other cities? Stay today for the latest news and comedy, culture, and sports by subscribing here to our YouTube channel.
I'm going to tell you exactly what Black people should do right now. I'm going to tell you exactly what we should do. All right? And we're going to go to more material. I got a scripture I want to go to, and it reads, and this is Isaiah 26:20. And it reads, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as if it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain." See, ladies and gentlemen, the best thing we can do as people right now is don't get emotionally triggered. The best thing we can do right now is stay out of these protests. Don't get on these streets. Don't put yourself out there. Hide yourself amongst your chambers and make sure your chambers are protected by the shadow of the Most High. And lay low. And if you're in these highly concentrated areas, these cities, the best thing you could do is find your way out. I'm telling you, find your way out. Because it's going to get considerably worse in these places. All right. Now, there's more, because we got to get a little bit deeper into what took place and what's taking place. Because you got a lot of surveillance videos that's going on, that's floating around with this Operation Midway Blitz.
We have some updated numbers from the Department of Homeland Security. It now says more than 900 people have been arrested so far during Operation Midway Blitz. Now, yesterday,
That's Chicago. So 900 people have been arrested. Now, this is very similar to what happened in D.C. We don't know who these 900 people are. We don't know why they were arrested. We don't know what jails they went to. And I would consider that rather daunting, because a lot of the times these local prisons be overcrowded, and seeing as how You know, there's certain laws that have been changed. I'm thinking they're doing some type of federal time. I don't know what's happening. I don't know where these people are going. But I do know what our word tells us. In Isaiah 59:19, it tells us, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When an enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. And a Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord. See, those who turn from transgression, the Redeemer will protect and redeem. So I know that you got the Pentagon turned into the Department of War. The only war seems to be going on is with America's own citizens. But there's a way out. See, instead of ignoring the problem, ignoring that martial law is coming, instead of ignoring the fact that austerity measures are coming, no, we acknowledge it and we talk about the solutions. What do we have to do personally to navigate through the Spirit of the Most High to withstand the fiery darts that are flying out in the atmosphere? The word gives us direction.
Raid happened at a homeless shelter in the Bronzeville neighborhood, and today NBC5's V Win talked to people who run that shelter.
They raided a homeless shelter too, ladies and gentlemen. So now, according to the news, there's been 900 arrested and they raided a homeless shelter. Let's go.
Alex and Marion shelter officials held a town hall meeting this morning addressing concerns from residents about what happened. Around 260 men and women stay here at the shelter. Surveillance video from Wednesday morning shows federal agents in unmarked vehicles jumping out and chasing after a group of people standing in front of the homeless shelter in Bronzeville.
They never identified themselves. They never asked for anyone in particular, didn't present any warrants. They simply gave chase, and 5 people were initially detained.
Video captured a shelter staff member talking with agents. The executive director of Bright Star Community Development Corporation says his group manages the shelter for the city, serving a mixed population of migrants and the unhoused.
Their space was invaded yesterday, and so disappointment that they now have to experience this, that they now have to deal with additional hurt, additional trauma.
See, this is the reason why the FBI pulled their support from all these civil rights organizations, such as the Southern Poverty Law Center and the ADL as well. This is the reason why the feds pulled their support. So now, you know, they can do exactly what they're doing, technically. Technically, they're not breaking any laws now. There's no protection for these marginalized groups of people. There is no protection. There's been some changes made. And there's been even more changes that were made, that was put on the table. And we're going to talk about that too, right? Because my job is to keep y'all aware of what's going on in these end times, because we are in the end times. In case you don't know, you know, we are in the time of the Antichrist. This is the Antichrist season. And the Antichrists are letting themselves be known. Notice I said them, because Paul told us even in his time, there will be many Antichrists. Anybody denying what's going on prophetically right now is an Antichrist. Because Christ warned us of this day and age. Christ warned us to prepare ourselves for his coming. Christ commanded us to gather ourselves together. Christ told us what to do when we seen our people compass with armies. So anybody who is got their ears covered, got their eyes covered, anybody who is bashing and shunning and isolating and ostracizing you brothers and sisters for speaking the truth, because you can see what's going on in the world, that's an Antichrist. See, the Antichrist spirit is all about control. So they can usher in the mark of the beast, of course. That's what's happening right now. But here you have these ICE agents detaining people at a homeless shelter. Where are they taking these people? Where are they taking these people?
Vehicles jumping out and chasing after a group of people standing in front of the homeless shelter in Bronzeville.
They never identified themselves. They never asked for anyone in particular, didn't present any warrants. They simply gave chase, and 5 people were initially detained.
Video captured a shelter staff member talking with agents. The executive director of Bright Star Community Development Corporation says his group manages the shelter for the city, serving a mixed population of migrants and the unhoused.
Their space was invaded yesterday, and so disappointment that they now have to experience this, that they now have to deal with additional hurt, additional trauma.
The encounter was documented on Facebook Live by the pastor of Bright Star Church. He later released this video message calling the move dehumanizing.
Let me emphasize, 60% of our immigrant residents are employed and work every single day.
According to Bright Star, at least 5 people were detained, one released on scene after showing his asylum paperwork. The other 4, including 2 shelter residents and a food vendor nearby, were taken into custody.
We aren't aware of anyone having any issues or problems with those individuals, so they just become part of our family. So that's about all I can.
Now I want to read a scripture here because this is important. Joel chapter 2 verse 1. And it reads, "Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, there have not been ever like, neither shall be there any after, even to the years of many generations." So first and foremost, we're supposed to proclaim that Christ is returning. And we're also supposed to blow the trumpet in Zion to let our people know that we have to repent, we have to withdraw, we have to be set apart. Because I'm telling you right now, the time is nigh. It is near. It ain't no time to be playing no games. And don't fear what's happening. Fear God. Fear the Almighty. Don't fear what you see happening. Fear the Almighty.
I would like to say about the individuals.
Shelter staff addressed fears and concerns from residents worried they could be next.
We've had some residents who were contemplating exiting the shelter or going out into the streets thinking that it would be safer, but we wanted to assure them. So part of our meeting today was to reassure them that this was a safe space.
I want to say this too. Everything you see is planned in advance. The left brung a whole lot of illegal migrants over here to America on purpose. And it was set up for this to be happening right now. See, let me keep it 1,000 with you. The people that the left brung over, a lot of them were criminals. I don't think it's mostly criminals being targeted now, but the people the left brung over, oh, they were bringing over all kind of drugs. They were drug mules. They were actually illegal. They were squatting in people's homes. They were stealing school buses, kidnapping people. They were doing all that. But guess what? All that was set up by design. So we can have what we having right now. See, I already told y'all it's a Hegelian dialect. They all working together. 2 wings of the same bird. And yes, that's true. They were dropping them in our communities too. They were dropping these criminals that was coming from overseas into our communities to do what? Create chaos. And they started doing this when they knew it was Joe Biden's time to get out of office so they can come in and do what? Lump all us together. This is how they did it. They criminalized our community, mixed us all together. Now they can bring in ICE and start engaging us. That's what's happening. I'm telling you, that's what's happening. Now, we gotta talk about this because Trump, if y'all remember, Trump denied being part of what is the thing called Project 2025. Y'all remember when he was running for office, he denied being part of Project 2025. Now, I want you to pay attention now because it seemed like Trump changed his whole game plan. People said that anybody was talking about Project 2025 was fear mongering. That's what they said. They said we were fear mongering. No. Trump is now considering, not even considering, he's pretty much putting it in motion. And we got to talk about that. Yeah, none of this stuff is coincidence. These people plan all of this. They work together. Let's continue.
Do things this weekend, but wherever Donald Trump is, he has been spending a lot of time on his phone, posting long monologues on social media that sound like they come from a Bond villain, promising the American people lots of pain and privation from his shutdown. He's already slashed the jobs of 300,000 federal workers. He's now threatening he can, quote, do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them, and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out of the government workforce and shutting down popular programs. Now, to be really clear, we've had lots of shutdowns before. I've covered a bunch of them myself. There's no precedent for that. This is not what happens in shutdown. As one White House reporter mentioned today, Trump has presided over government shutdowns before and never reacted with such an extreme agenda.
Even when the government was shut down for 35 days in Trump's first term, you've never had to lay off thousands of workers to keep essential services up and running. So why are layoffs now necessary in this shutdown?
Because we have an administration and we have a president who are wholeheartedly focused on restoring fiscal sanity.
I'm going to tell you what that actually means. I told y'all what the shutdown was about before, but the shutdown is about firing any government official who's showing any level of resistance. That's what it's about. You can't have a totalitarian government. You can't have, a dictatorship if you got certain people who are resistant. So, certain people had to go. That's why, if you notice, soon as that government shut down, Kash Patel said, look, I'm parting ways with all the civil rights organizations that protect people, because at the end of the day, they're about to let the hounds out. Now they on purge time. Now, all of technically in America right now, I'm gonna tell y'all, it's crazy because in America right now, there's really no laws against having a extremist group. At least there's nothing in place to stop that. There's no dossiers being generated right now. There's nothing. All of the establishments, civil rights establishments that would protect citizens from extremist hate groups, they didn't clear the catalog. They didn't clear the glossaries. It's on and popping. The glossaries are cleared. So now you will see America come into a civil war. It's coming. And I'm not saying this to be to make you afraid, because God's people already know what time that we on right now. We know what time we on. This is why we go to these scriptures. This is why we go to the scriptures. Because what does it tell us in Ezekiel 20:33? As I live, saith the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people, and I will gather you from the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of my people. And there I will plead with you face to face, like I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness in the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, saith the Lord God. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, and I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. See, now we're in that time where he's doing what? Forcing us to become whole with him. Separating those who seek after the Almighty. His arm will always be stretched out for his people. And we're supposed to do what? The same thing we did in Egypt. Meet up in the wilderness of the people. So he can do what? Put us under the rod of the covenant again. The scripture's going to say people get caught eating pig. People get caught doing certain things. The Most High gonna have them drop dead just like that. See, while Babylon is tightening his clutches, the Most High is tightening his clutches on his people to follow him. That's the time that we in right now. Let's continue.
That doesn't answer the question. If Donald Trump suddenly got more focus on fiscal sanity, what's different now is that after the considerable failures of the first Trump administration, a group of conservatives got together and wrote up a literal.
And that's an interesting comment right there, Nini. She says, let a black extremist group emerge, and I bet they will activate the laws again. Well, I could tell you like this. They pretty much already know that it's no real togetherness within our community the way it should be. And on top of that, they want that type of stuff because they know they got the military power. Listen, America got the power. They want people. I think they want people to boot up and talk crazy. That would help their cause if people were to do that. Listen, America still has one of the most powerful arsenals. They got bullets that can bend corners. They got heat-seeking bullets that can bend corners now. They got avatars. Listen, they got technology nowadays where you can they got drone warfare. They got, I'm gonna tell you right now, they got an avatar technology where you could be walking around like you in a video game with a firearm and really be plucking people in real life with an invisible robot. Really like an invisible robot made out of alloy that can hide in thin air and it's quiet too. So I'm telling you, they want to bait us into that. That's why the scriptures say, fall back, hide thyself. Yep, Real 80 says they have deployed their brought and paid for raccoons to easily neutralize us. And that part too. You got too many people who will easily work for them to neutralize us in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, they don't need it. They literally don't need these organizations anymore.
Playbook or how to dominate in a second Trump administration. Yesterday, Trump openly admitted he was going by that book. Quote, I have a meeting today with Russell Vought, he of the Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the many Democrat agencies most.
So look, all right. So this is what I wanted to go to in this video. Trump says, I have a meeting today with Russ Vought, he of Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the many Democrat agencies, most of which are political scam, he recommended to be cut. So now Trump is embracing Project 2025 because he's meeting up with this guy, as long as this means getting back or, getting back at the Democrats or whatever the case is. But we know that there's some extreme, dangerous rhetoric written of in Project 2025. But Trump, he's open to discuss this with this guy. He said when he was running, he said, look, I don't have nothing to do with Project 2025. But now look. That's what I wanted to show you. That's what I wanted to show you. Now, because I'm not just saying these things and not bringing the facts and bringing the news, right? And far as Chicago goes, there's more news because they're not letting up with Chicago. And this is why I said we got to have prayers up for our brothers and sisters out there in Chicago because they don't plan on letting up. All right. And they're claiming that they're going to deploy more troops. Now, I want you to hear this.
All right, welcome in here to Live Now from Fox. We are following some breaking news, just getting this in here. Let's put this up on your screen as we're learning Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem saying she's going to deploy more special operations to Chicago. Here's what this says. Today in Chicago, members of our brave law enforcement were attacked, rammed, and boxed in by 10 vehicles, including an attacker with a semi-automatic weapon. I'm deploying more special operations to control the scene. Reinforcements are on their way. If you see a law enforcement officer today, thank them. This post coming shortly after we did see another social media post here from Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin after she shared that federal agents were rammed and boxed in by 10 cars in Broadview, Illinois, and that's where anti-U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement crowds have been gathering for days. DHS said agents were unable to move their vehicles and they had to exit.
So they claiming that some Chicagoans pretty much boxed in their vehicles. Now they got to deploy more troops. Now let's get to some scripture. Let's get to it. Let's get to some scripture here. Hold on one moment. And while we do that, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to share this other video. And then, because there's more people talking about what happened out there, but I want to share some scripture with y'all. And I want everybody to get the likes up on the video. Get the likes up. It should be well over 2,000 people in this stream. And, you know, I'm a little bit taken back by the fact that everybody's not talking about this on YouTube. I'm a little bit taken back by the fact that people don't find it alarming that men, women, and children were snatched out of their home in the middle of the night by military, unlawfully, zip-tied together in U-Haul trucks. Nobody cares. I'm extremely concerned about that. I'm concerned about that. Have they really beat us into submission? But anyway, let's continue. Micah 7:8. Rejoice not against me, O mine enemy. When I fall, I shall arise. When I sit in darkness, the Lord shall be my light unto me. I will bear the indignation of the Lord, because I have sinned against him, until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me. He will bring me forth to the light, and I shall behold his righteousness. The Lord's going to fight this war for us. He's going to fight this battle for us. But we have to cry aloud, spare not. We have to blow the trumpet to our people to keep our people informed of what's going on. But anyway, let's continue.
Cities to be training grounds, and ICE listened. In Chicago, in the middle of the night, federal agents stormed an apartment building. Black Hawk helicopters, flashbangs, military-style trucks, all used in the raid. Now, witnesses say everyone was detained, no matter their status. Children were zip-tied together, separated from their parents. And the feds say that
children were zip-tied together, separated from their parents.
They arrested dozens of gang members. Also in the city, Charlie Kirk's group was given a front row seat to a raid inside a Walmart.
Amazing. Secretary Noem was here. They rolled up a couple of guys, and
so they brought some conservative commentators from Turning Point so they can get a front row seat at what's happening. Nobody finds this sick and disgusting out there. Yeah, welcome to the New World Order, because it's here. Let's go.
It's rowdy. I mean, there's a lot of people around. Everyone's filming. the Secretary of Homeland Security is right now doing raids at Walmart.
So as forewarned, I mean, we have a situation in which American cities are at the center of this ICE crackdown, and there's indiscriminate use of force against Americans, non-Americans, people here legally, people here illegally. And on the right, nobody seems to care. In fact, they love it.
I saw a video from a local station in Chicago, and residents of a community there were describing an ICE raid and like what they saw. Two things struck me. One, they were talking about things that happened to them. They were talking about how they were treated in this ICE raid. These are the people that, I guess by virtue of being born here in America, are entitled to being treated like human beings. The second thing is that they were all black. And I'm gonna say something, we saw this coming. We knew the neighborhoods where these ICE raids would take place. We knew that a lot of these things wouldn't happen in Beverly Hills or in Coconut Grove or any of those places like that. We knew that there would be collateral damage, that there would be trauma that would be inflicted on our communities. We knew that people would be detained, scared. We knew that children would have to see things that they shouldn't have to see. And all of this for political theater so that we look tough on immigration for everyone. It's a horror show. And I do think if it hasn't already happened, that it'll be something that even the most conservative of Americans will get tired of seeing human beings treated this way. At least.
Well, you know, God's people are the real conservatives, first and foremost. But secondly, I don't believe people are going to get tired of it until it happens in their neighborhoods. You know, the ICE agents let the nice little ladies that were sitting down, the ICE agents let them know we doing this for you, claiming that they're not the target. But when that mark of the beast rolls out, oh, they coming for everybody. They coming for everybody. See, they got AI now. See, when Trump first got elected and he spent that $500 billion on that AI, that should tell you right there, they don't need people. They don't need people when you got AI. So make no mistake about it. If you're complicit with these crimes against humanity, oh, you'll get caught up in a tidal wave too. You'll get caught up too. Make no mistake about that.
That's my hope.
The one neighbor said the kids were crying. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner because they were bringing kids down too, had them zip tied to each other, saying that there were trucks, military-style vans used to separate adults from kids. What's going on?
I haven't seen any of this, so I certainly am not aware of particular neighborhoods that are targeted. Obviously, I support them finding and arresting people who are here illegally. And in the community they're in, again, I can't.
That's understandable. What's understandable is if they would have created a task force like they did with ICE, but they specifically went after the criminals that were sent over here under the Biden administration. But what we have going on now is just horrendous. It's very messy because you got everybody getting harassed. So much so, all it takes is somebody to really start to clap back, and it's going to be real chaos in the street. I mean, it's going to get serious. But let's continue.
Justify. I haven't seen which communities that they're targeting.
Well, one detail that's been left out is that they were targeting Tren de Aragua. And so Tren de Aragua is a violent transnational gang. They send illegal immigrants here to the United States. They traffic drugs, they traffic people, they commit violence. They inflict misery everywhere they go. And 37 people.
So the answer is to snatch up innocent people? So let me get this right. What this guy essentially saying is collateral damage is okay. He's basically saying, all right, a little collateral damage to get to these gangs is okay. Do you know some of these children will be traumatized for life? 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, zip tied in the back of a U-Haul, snatched up in the middle of the night, separated from their parents, seeing their parents get zip tied, hauled off. We talking about working class citizens who live there, who are born foundational Black Americans. You don't listen. So let me get this right. In order to target a gang that kidnaps people, you're going to kidnap people? Make that make sense. To get rid of a gang that kidnaps people, you go kidnap people. Who's the real gang? Who's the real violent gang in America?
Were arrested. That was the purpose of the raid, the targeting of Tren de Aragua, some of the most violent people in our hemisphere. And when they come here, nothing good happens. That was
okay,
the point.
so if it was targeting, I don't think anybody has a problem with targeting. Right. When you clear out an apartment building and you zip tie children and you arrest and detain everyone. Scott, hold on, Scott.
Right. I mean, come on, man. He had to know how that sounded. He had to know how that sounded. Like the guy just asked him, now, are the children a part of the gang? Like, what are we talking about? Now, if this happened in his neighborhood, he would feel some type of way about that. If this happened in his neighborhood, this guy would be upset. And then the feds say, oh, we were just looking for a gang. No, listen, in their community, they would have their badges. Actually, they don't even wear badges. They trying to turn Chicago into real Iraq. Operation Midway Blitz. Using all these military terms. Let's go.
And you zip tie children and you arrest and detain everyone. Scott, hold on, Scott. You and me, we're talking here, okay? If they arrest children, they arrest everyone, citizens and non-citizens, for hours, detain them, deprive them of their liberty, for no matter how long. You are fine with that.
They didn't arrest children, but
I didn't say they arrested them. They put them in zip ties. But if that makes a difference to you, go ahead.
Here's what makes a difference to me. If the federal government knows that there is a nest of Tren de Aragua in a city like Chicago, they have a responsibility. They have an obligation to go get them. It is unfortunate, to answer your question, that there are children put in harm's way by these violent gangs. But that is going to be the reality.
Or is it unfortunate, or is it a violation of their rights?
Well, the gangs ain't the one who snatched their children up and zip tied them. The military did.
Is the question. Because, I mean, in this country, we have rights against searches and illegal
you're suggesting
searches
these children should be effectively given shields for Tren de Aragua, and I don't agree with that.
Hold on, I want to make it clear. I know that Tren de Aragua and gangs and whatever, it's a catch-all to treat people however you want, to go in there and shred the Constitution or whatever else it is that you want to do. What I'm asking you is this. Do you think that children should have been zip-tied and pulled out of an apartment complex and traumatized like that? Yes or no?
I don't think children should be put in harm's way by transnational gangs.
Just answer the question. Yes or no? Do you think that children...
I don't accept the premise of your question.
I'm asking
the
you
government's not
whether
putting
or not...
children in harm's way. Tren de Aragua...
Real calm now. Real calm. Like
they're the ones putting children in harm's way.
Gentlemen and gentlemen, we have a responsibility for the way we treat people with the power that we have here in America. And we have a standard that we should treat human life with. Mm-hmm. And I'm asking you very clearly, concisely, should children be treated that way? Does Scott Jennings like that?
I don't accept the premise of your question.
All right, cool.
I don't accept the premise of your question. That right there is a white supremacist. That's a white supremacist right there. He just exposed it. Yep, that's right. Real 80 says, Breed, they said you were fear-mongering for months. They went on a campaign to silence you, silence the truth. Can the people see who they are now? Antichrist amongst the wheat. Exactly. Exactly. And you know what, Real 80s, they won't touch on this topic at all. They won't talk about this. They won't talk about, children being zip tied in Chicago. People getting snatched out of their homes, having their rights violated. No, they won't do that. But anyway, nonetheless, that dude mask slipped off. It definitely slipped off. That mask slipped right on off, y'all. Because I would have framed the question. I would have been like, if this happened in your neighborhood, how would you feel about that? If your children, I would have took it personal. If your children were zip tied in the middle of the night, would you feel that the military was justified to come in and zip tie your children? But see, he started to, he would have deflected anyway. I don't accept the premise of your question. That's crazy.
I don't believe that the premise of your question is accurate. I would ask you back. Should children be allowed to live in an apartment building with Trinde Aragua? Should the entire community of Chicago have to live with Trinde Aragua because they hide behind these children?
But here's the thing.
That's my question.
I think the answer to that is clear. No, they should not be put in harm's way. But the difference is in this situation is I don't want to be Trinde Aragua. I don't want my law enforcement to act like Trinde Aragua.
Yes,
that
right.
is
So
the
what do you wanna do?
distinction.
You don't want to leave
but,
That's right. So they're gonna get just as violent as Trinde Aragua.
Do you just want to leave it and say, well, they have kids in there, let's just move on?
No, but can't law enforcement figure out a way? I don't think this is the first time children have been in an environment where dangerous people have been around them. And I'm most certain that in most of those circumstances, those children aren't zip tied and carried out like animals. What I am wondering is, okay, let's put this fact pattern on any other placement. Let's put it on a school, right? What if there was a gang member in a school? And by this calculation, it would seem like the children in the school, in order to get that one gang member or two gang members, would get.
It's not one gang member. It's 37
Well,
people in an apartment
there's
building.
it's a large apartment building. That's part of the fact pattern here. I mean, here's another one.
Listen, we're gonna be seeing that all throughout Chicago. Look, she's about to bring out more. Let's go.
From our reporting, tenants said it appears everyone in the building was detained by federal officers, including U.S. citizens. It was scary, said one, because I had never had a gun in my face.
Now imagine somebody just in the middle of the night. They did this at 2 a.m, bro. They had U-Haul trucks. Imagine somebody you wake up, you hear your door getting kicked down. You hear the door getting kicked down, and there's an M4 in your face. They snatch your children. Ain't nothing you can do about it. You know how many single women was zip tied? Now imagine these women that's by themselves. Some of them living by themselves. Go to work, come home, mind their business. Ain't got no connection to no gang. And they found themselves zip tied in the back of a U-Haul truck. And guess what? This is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. It's getting to the point in this country that the people are so desensitized. They have been conditioned to accept military patrolling the streets. They have been desensitized to seeing people literally get kidnapped. Because there's an evil in this land. There's an evil in the land. Let's continue.
That person lives in the building. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me, did I have any warrants? I told them, no, I didn't. Fisher, this person says, she was handcuffed anyway before being released around 3 a.m. and was told anyone with outstanding warrants, even if it was unrelated to immigration, would not be released. So again, like people
seriously,
live in apartment buildings all over this country.
I promise that.
Is that where you should go?
Wait a second.
Should I just go to an apartment building and hide?
Wait. I'm talking about the way that citizen of this country was treated. By the way, I just want to be clear. I think that everybody that's created in the image of God should be treated with respect. And I thought that part of the American ideal was that, but that's gone. I promise y'all will still be invited to Mar-a-Lago if you say that it is wrong that children were zip-tied and that American people...
Yo, he just got him. He said, I promise you still get invited to Mar-a-Lago. See, because listen, a lot of middle America, they just trying to get that White House visit. They already see what time it is. The dog whistles have been blown and they heard it. They heard the dog whistle. So it's certain things they can't say. They can't listen. One of the rules of white supremacy is you can never condemn. You can never condemn what they do morally. That's a rule in white supremacy, literally. When you read the white supremacy handbook, you cannot say that something that the product of white supremacy did is wrong. That's why he avoided that question. Because why? You just challenged the dominant society. He can lose his job for that. He can lose his job for admitting that. Those who run the dominant society, they don't play them games. So you said it was wrong. We zip-tied those little black babies. You saying it's wrong. We detained them illegally on the news. No, listen, I'm going to tell you, this guy's on code. He's on code right now. He's on MAGA code. Let's go.
American citizens were detained without any warrant or suspicion.
Briefly detained? In an effort to get 37 Trinidad Aragua members?
So tell me,
what you're suggesting is that no enforcement can take place.
Would you be okay being detained so that the gang members, would you?
And ladies and gentlemen, some of those people were brought out there naked too. They were naked. There was naked women out there, naked men out there. Listen, it was people in their beds that was just getting it in. There was couples getting it in that got detained and zip-tied. That's how real it is. There's footage floating around all over the place. If I show y'all the list that I got of footage, from drone footage to camera footage, they caught this one. They caught this one. I mean, it's just a complete violation of human rights.
Be okay with your rights being violated and you be held until 3 a.m. with your family member not knowing why? Is that okay? Because that's not okay with me.
Everybody here seems to believe that if you're Trinidad Aragua, you can go hide in an apartment building, and because there are other people there, you just get to be left alone. That is not a reasonable enforcement position.
There's another option here, and it's actually an option that's utilized by law enforcement every single day in this country. When they are looking for violent people, they go look for those violent people. They do not subject the people around those violent people who have nothing to do with them with arrest, with guns in their faces, with being searched, with being zip-tied and handcuffed and detained. Every day in America, law enforcement does their jobs, and they don't do it like this. So why is suddenly this okay?
Every day.
Yeah, and see, if you don't agree with what she just said, I don't care what color you are, what kindred, tongue, where you come from. If you don't agree with what she just said, then you are definitely part of the problem, and you lack a lot of humility. And you pretty much sold out. Your soul is gone. If you can't agree with that, you just don't even have a soul. If becoming an animal and a savage and traumatizing children is the cost of getting rid of a gang, in your mind, in your eyes, you have no humility whatsoever. It's over. It's over. And she made it clear, the police not doing that. Man, I tell you. Let's go. I don't know what he's going to say to respond to this.
In America, you're not necessarily dealing with the most violent people in the hemisphere.
Yes,
we're not.
That's who is living in the
Why? So in the Chicago bill, that's the most violent people in the hemisphere, not the people snatching people out their homes. They always pointing it on some Mexicans or some blacks, not the Spaniards that colonized and stole the Mexicans from their land. No, blacks are violent, but not the people who enslaved blacks and committed genocide. Blacks are the most dangerous in the world, not the people who enslaved them and used their babies as gator bait. They're not violent at all. This dude is a white supremacist. Racist as hell.
There are violent people who are right here in this country, American citizens. They are in gangs. They were born here. Their parents were born here. Their grandparents were born here.
Believe me, we know.
Those people are dealt with by law enforcement every day. Again, it's a real basic question. If you lived in an apartment building and there happened to be somebody who was guilty of a terrible crime in that building, and law enforcement barged in, guns blazing, and put every single person in that apartment building under arrest, you would be fine with that, including you and your family.
Not everybody is under arrest. They arrested 37 people. They arrested 37.
They arrested 37 people, but they detained a whole apartment building.
You said everybody. It's not. It's 37.
Into 3 a.m.
This person was sleeping in their bed, and they were detained. They were put in handcuffs and detained. Until
Neither you nor I was there.
Neither
you nor I were there.
No,
but I know this. Now 37
you and your family,
violent
Scott.
people are now off.
That she take it personal. You and your family, Scott. What about you and your family? I was waiting for somebody to take it there. How about you and your family?
Scott, you and your family, you are in an apartment building. You and your family, you would be fine with your liberty being held up, your kids, your wife, your children, being detained for any amount of time because somebody in that building was a criminal. You'd be fine with that?
You are vastly oversimplifying what's happening here. There are scores of
He couldn't answer it. He couldn't answer it. I can't believe hey, listen, I'd have been like, yo, get him off the show. Scott, hey, listen, Scott is going to leave the show and he's going to jump on his groypers. He's going to go follow his Nick Fuentes. He's one of those. Thank you for the super chat, David. I appreciate it. It says, couldn't be any more in plain sight how crooked all this is. If you can see, if you can't see, you haven't even looked. Right. That's a fact, man. That is a fact. Let's continue.
Illegal immigrants.
I think sometimes we have to simplify things so that we actually understand what we're talking about. Because I do think that this is a problem now for the rest of the country. People are going about their lives and they are not responsible for the crimes of other people. And yet in this world in which ICE is operating like this, they are being detained for other people's crimes. Willingness to accept a whole lot of collateral violation of rights of anybody, whether you're American citizens or not, because there are many rights in this country that are in the Constitution that it doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not, you're still entitled to them.
Yep. And
this is Democracy Now!
But look, ladies and gentlemen, all this Antifa, look, all of them left-wing people that's out there, don't join them people. Because I can tell you now, man, they have released, I know y'all see the riots going on, some in Chicago, some here, some there. And listen, it's a bunch of degenerates. Those Antifa people, they are paid for by the system. I already told you all these people are the same. Those are those George Soros funded anarchists that was strategically placing bricks. Don't go out there and protest and get a part of none of that. Do exactly what the scriptures say and hide yourself. Hide yourself from all this. Get closer to the Lord. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your family. Because I can tell you now, they didn't show the people getting arrested. And these people are just a bunch of weirdos. I done seen those people in them Antifa riots. Weirdos. All weirdos. All reprobates and maniacs. Don't listen. And I'm going to tell you, they mad that they can't lump us in with them. They mad that black people as a whole, they couldn't lure us out into them streets. They're pissed off about that. So now they're still coming in the auspice of criminality to engage us. So now they, this ICE thing, that whole ICE thing is going to, watch it dissipate. Watch it disappear soon. They're going to lose all their little funding. They got to get their refund back because the ICE thing ain't work. They was not able to successfully get us out here with those weirdos who was placing bricks during the George Floyd, wearing hoodies with A's on their shirts, a bunch of pink, blue hair weirdos and freaks. They couldn't get us to go out there and riot with the weirdos and freaks. So now they're going to come in the auspice of criminality to come after us. That's what's happening. And they not going to get us out there. They pissed off they couldn't do that it didn't work. So what you can look for now, they're going to see if they can trigger us a couple more times, perhaps do another psyop, or it may even be something might happen with this military thing, raiding people where somebody innocent may end up really losing their lives. I'm going to tell y'all, those no-knock warrants are extremely dangerous. And I'm not trying to speak death on none of our people, but it seemed like the military have become the new police. And they're even more violent than the police we had. They're even more quick on the trigger because they're doing military drills. They're doing military drills. So all it's going to take is one of these no-knock warrants. They kick down the door and end up murking somebody who is not any migrant, don't have no criminal record, don't have any open warrants. And that right there may set the city on the streets on fire. That may set the streets on fire. So you got to look out for that too, because they're going to try everything. They're going to try everything. Even if the story's not real, you got to cleave to the Most High. Every time something happened, pray for discernment. Stay locked in with the channel so you can really wave things through the parameters of the text and get that reminder, because it'll get you in your feelings when you got love for your people. When you genuinely got love for your people, it's going to get you in your feelings some of the things you see. So y'all be safe out here. Y'all be safe and be at ease, man. One love to y'all. Thank y'all for coming through watching. I actually went live longer than I thought I was going to. But we had to chop it up and talk about this. Of course, I got more material coming. Thank each and every one of y'all for joining. Y'all be blessed. If y'all want to sponsor the show, Nubreed Global Truth 77 is the Cash App. NubreedGlobalTruth.com is the website. Follow me on X. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. All of the links are down there at the bottom. All right, y'all be blessed.